Right. So, guys, we've got one more session for you, and this one's a really good one. I think it's going to give you a nice frame of how to look at a listing appointment. So, without any further ado, we're going to toss this thing over to Brian Ernst, and he's going to talk about the 8 criteria of a valid listing appointment. Take it away, Brian.
Would you like to know what are the 8 criteria of a valid listing appointment? Well, if you're watching this video, I assume you want to know what the 8 criteria of a valid listing appointment, what those criteria are. And if you're going on listing appointments now and you don't have set criteria, what needs to be met before you go on that appointment, I'm not sure what you're doing. But I know if those criteria are not met for me, I know it's pretty much a complete waste of my time, and it's likely that I will percentage-wise not get that listing. So I want to make sure you get all the listings that you want. Is that fair? By the way, I'm Brian Ernst. Thanks for joining me today. I appreciate you watching. I mean, you could have been anywhere else in this world, and you chose to watch this video. So thank you. So we're going to cover what the 8 criteria of a valid listing appointment are. I get my grammar right today. So this is just so important because I've done this for a couple days now, going on 2 decades of doing this. And I don't want you to go through the pain that I have gone through on listing appointments. I want to make sure you get the listings you want, don't take the listings, that you don't want, and live the life that you want to live. And when I learned information on these criteria, and the criteria has been added to through the years, when I really figured this out, my life got so much easier because I do focus on listings, and that is something that I do share with the world. Listings are the name of the game. They really are. So I want to make sure we're on the same page with that, because listings help you get other listings. Listing helps you get buyers. You can promote your listings, but if you're focused more on the buyer side, this is a whole different challenge. And if you go back to some NAR stats, the amount of time it takes for you to handle a listing from start to finish is, well, a lot shorter than it takes to handle a buyer, just statistically speaking, through the years, the decades. So I'm a big fan of listings. You can control your time with that. You control a lot of different things, but it really starts with the beginning of that listing appointment and what are those criteria that need to be met before you even go on the appointment. So are we ready for this? Well, yes, Brian, we're ready. I know you can't really give me feedback through a video, but I don't know. I guess I need feedback. So first criteria of a valid listing appointment is they want to sell. Now, I know that sounds really simple. They want to sell. No, they really want to sell. They're not there to get an estimate of their home's worth to give to their loan officer to refinance their home. No, they actually want to sell. That's a real big criteria. And I want to make sure that you know that they want to sell. There's a lot of different things that people meet. Well, if I redo the floors in my home, what will the value of my home be? All right. Are you selling? No. Okay. Well, I want to make sure they're selling before you go on that appointment. So that's the first criteria. They want to sell. Good. All right. Number 2, you're able to collect enough information to do a ballpark market analysis. This is what I teach. I teach one-step, one-stop listing appointments. I want to make sure that I collect enough information ahead of time on the property and on my potential clients' needs, concerns, wants ahead of time. But I want to be able to give them that ballpark market analysis, and I need to collect as much information. Now, usually I can collect a lot of that stuff ahead of time, but I need to ask a few specific things from them too. But make sure you've asked enough information that you walk in the door with that ballpark market analysis, but also that, let's just say you didn't collect everything, you can still modify that. So I'd recommend bringing a laptop with you on your listing appointments too, just in case you didn't ask something. Let me tell you, that's why these 8 criteria are so important. All right. So that's number 2. You've collected enough information to do a ballpark market analysis. Number three is you've asked how much they want. You've asked how much they want for their home, how much they want to sell their home for. You've asked how much you want to sell your home for. How much? I know that you shouldn't end with a preposition, but anyway, this is just so important because you need to know what their mindset is. Because if they're way high in price, you know that you need to prepare your market analysis to show them where the market actually is. And from my experience, I would say about 9 out of 10 people are off on their pricing in my experience. I've closed well over 1,000 deals. So let me tell you, it's happened a lot. And there's a lot of people I just flat turned down and said, I'm not going to list your home. And I still wanted to know what my commission was, for crying out loud. But 0, I'm not listing your home. Now, I'm not telling you to turn down people at this point, but I just want to make sure you know these 8 criteria. It'll make your life easier if you're not familiar with this. All right. So number 1 is they want to sell. Number 2 is you collect enough information to do a ballpark market analysis. Number 3, you've asked how much they want for their home or property or land or whatever they're selling that you are licensed to sell. And now we get to number 4. Number 4, you have pre-qualified them over the phone. Now, this is not through a text message, an email. You can do it through a video call. That's fine with me. But you've pre-qualified them ahead of time. Now, how do you do that? Because sometimes I will get a phone call that says, hey, Brian, it's Bob. Think about selling my home. Give me a call. All right. I have no idea who Bob is. Okay. I don't know if Bob has a home or where they live. And this is where I recommend, if you're not familiar with Forewarn, the app, Forewarn, Forewarn, Forewarn. And my board pays for that. It's for real estate agents, and you can look people up by phone number. So that's what I would do. I would look them up to make sure that matched with an area that I sold. And usually that person would pop up in the area of my geographic farm that I mainly did my business in Illinois, or past other areas too. But the idea is that, yeah, okay, I know that he got my information from some sort of marketing piece that I have out there. Good. All right, let's talk to Bob. So then I can pull up that property information. I can pull all those details up. So when I am on the phone with Bob, and I'm going through make sure all 8 criteria are met if I want to meet with Bob, I can make sure you have the right address on Bob. And it's a good way that, well, I have fun with this too. I just like, hey, Bob, how you doing? Just want to confirm that you're thinking about selling your home at 123 Main Street. Oh, wow. How did you know that, Brian? Well, I wouldn't be any good at my job if I didn't know these types of things. And I just roll right into my questions. And what questions do I ask people? Well, I have a seller intake form. And these are literally the questions that I ask in order to all my potential sellers. And I do ask them on my listing appointments too, the same questions, to make sure their answers haven't changed, or if their spouses are there or other decision makers are there, that I'm going to ask those questions again. And if you want a copy of the seller intake form, please reach out to me. My workplace is probably the best place. You say, hey, I want a copy of the seller intake form. I'll shoot you a copy of it. No problem. It's nothing looks fancy, but it's the questions. And you can bring notes, and real estate's an open book test, especially listing appointments. You can bring all your stuff with you. Most people won't even know what you have. And most people really do appreciate having, all the questions that you need to ask them. And I've had sellers say, I really appreciate you asking me all these questions. I've never had a real estate agent that seemed as caring and as concerned about my move. I'm thinking to myself, I just want to make sure I know what I'm getting into. So there we go. Number 4, pre-qualify them over the phone. So pre-qualifying them over the phone can mean several other things too. Like, do they have the right to sell the home too? Make sure that they actually own the property. Make sure they are fiscally solvent. They have the ability to sell, because sometimes if they're upside down on their property, which has happened in my career during the housing recession quite a bit, they didn't have the ability to sell, meaning they didn't have the money to come to the closing table that they would need to if they sold at the current market value. So you just want to make sure they're qualified. Are they going through bankruptcies? Are they in the middle of foreclosure process? Because at that point, they may not even be able to sell their house, because that has happened to me quite a few times, mainly during the housing recession. So you want to collect as much information on them as possible. And that's going to be number 4, pre-qualify them on the phone. And obviously, are they sellers? Yeah. All right. Number 5. All decision makers must be present. All decision makers must be present. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean if they're on title, that's the only decision makers that they're selling their home. This can mean parents, siblings, children, whoever is involved with this transaction. If they're going to have a say in it, I want them there at the appointment. Because I want to be able to move forward. That's the biggest thing. With all 8 criteria met, they have the ability to move forward, sign the paperwork, and have you list their house. If these criteria are not met, what you're doing is basically you're killing your chance of actually getting that listing, and getting back in the door again is even harder. Remember this, as soon as somebody starts talking about real estate, think about selling their home, think how many people know agents. Like, oh yeah, we're going to paint the house first. You think the painter doesn't know an agent? You think the contractor that's fixing up their home doesn't know an agent? So they're going to get in these conversations. If you're one of the first people to have these conversations with them, you want to make sure that you can move forward with them right then and there. Because if not, you lower your chances. And really, let's be honest, what most people want to know from you from the start is, what's your price? What's your commission? And please do not share that information right up front, okay? Because you don't know what you're getting into yet. You don't know what the house is if you haven't seen it. And maybe you sold the house 5 years ago. You don't know the current condition of it, okay? And I have some people who argue with me on this, saying, Brian, we're licensed agents. We have to disclose our commission. Yeah, I'll take this argument all day long. What am I selling? And for how much? And for how long? I need to know all the details of this. So, by the way, if anybody asks you these types of things when you're trying to get all 8 criteria met for your valid listing appointment, and if they start asking about your price and your commission, this is the script I use. This is what I say. I don't know. I haven't seen your home yet. Let's get together. And then I'll propose 2 times. I'm available tomorrow at 2 o'clock, or would Wednesday at 5 work better for you? I go right to the close. I'm not here to answer the question. I'm here to I'll get you the information. I need to meet with you so I can see your home. So kind of sidebar on that one. That's number 5. All decision makers must be present. All right. Number 6. Number 6 is you've scheduled enough time, meaning you have enough time to go through your market analysis, go through your marketing plan, go through your questions, make sure, how do I put this? Do you have enough time to close them and set the proper expectations to list their property? And when you forget to set those expectations about having enough time, you may be 20, 30 minutes into your listing presentation, and next thing you know, somebody's got to get up and go pick up the kids at school, or pick up the dog at the dog groomer, or whatever it may be. You don't want to lose that halfway through. You're building up momentum here. So make sure you've scheduled enough time. Now, I schedule 2 hours. Do I need 2 hours? Not necessarily. But if they move forward, I probably do, because I want to make sure I set the proper expectations. I want to talk about staging their home. I want to make sure I talk about the photography that's going to be coming up. I want to prepare them. I want to set their expectations. So I would need definitely 2 hours on that to go through the process, because if you do a proper listing appointment, you are setting the expectations of something. And if you set those expectations the best possible, it will mean you're going to spend less time with them in the long run, and they're going to be happier. That's just been my experience of doing this over and over and over 1,000+ times. Close deals. Imagine the appointments I didn't get those listings, or I turned them down, or I didn't know what I was doing in the beginning of my real estate career. So I feel your pain if you're not getting the listing appointments, if you're not converting those listing leads the way you want to. That's why I want to share these 8 criteria with you. So that was number 6. You've scheduled enough time. Number 7. Do you know what objections to overcome? What objections do you need to overcome on the appointment? You're not going to solve it. You're not going to solve it on the phone. Okay. Please don't even try to solve it on the phone. That's not the point. You need to know what they are so you can be prepared to bring that material in with you to show them, not just tell them whatever their objection is or are, that here you go. Here's the information to help with that decision. So you want to make sure you know what that is. Now, it does come in a specific question format, okay? Something like, if you like everything you see in here when we get together and the price feels right, would there be anything else preventing you from getting your home on the market? Would there be anything preventing you from getting your home on the market? Well, yeah, Ryan, yeah, we kind of want to paint. We know we need to paint. Okay, no problem. So when we get together, the price feels right, and if you painted, would there be anything else preventing you from getting your home on the market? See, I'm going to ask the same question over and over to make sure I understand what their objections are. I want to make sure I know all the objections and not just, oh, you just want to paint. Oh, it's no problem. We can do this. Slow down. I'm not here to overcome anything. Okay. I just want to know what the objections are and I want to clarify them. Oh, you want to replace some flooring too? Okay, no problem. So when we get together, if the price feels right, the paint's taken care of, you've taken care of painting, you've taken care of some flooring issues. Would there be anything else preventing you from getting your home on the market? No? That's it? Okay, great. So, by the way, if you want to copy the seller intake form, like I said, just reach out to me. I'll get you a copy of it. Workplace, probably the best place to reach out to me. I know who you are. You know who I am. Go EXP, because I want you guys to sell. I want to see more EXP Realty for sale signs out there than any other company. I think we could do that. So number 7 was objections to overcome. Number 8. Whew. You've sent them a pre-appointment package. Now, what's a pre-appointment package? It's basically your marketing plan. It's basically your highlights. It's showing them how great you are. Okay, but you've sent that ahead of time. All right, because I want it where you walk in the door, they're already pre-sold on you. Not you're going into the appointment trying to sell yourself, your services, the price you're trying to convince them of that would actually sell, and your commission, which I do believe most agents are grossly underpaid commission-wise. I think everybody needs to raise their commission, but that's just me personally. I'm on team raise commissions. So give yourself a raise. But if the value is there, people will pay what you should be paid. So I want to make sure you sent that pre-appointment package. Now, there's a lot of different examples of this. EXP on Workplace. There's different workplace. There's a workplace listing presentation, workplace group. There's some other groups out there that you as an EXP agent have access to. I want to make sure that you see this stuff because EXP has a lot of stuff kind of formatted for you, ready to go. Fill in the information. So send that pre-appointment package so that you can be the professional that you are and they can see that ahead of time. Now, if you're a newer agent and you're like, I don't have a lot of stuff to share about myself, you share your company information, okay? When I first got into real estate, I'd share my office information, okay? With EXP, there's a lot of good stats out there. Make sure you use that information. So let's review here. What are the 8 criteria of a valid listing appointment? All right, ready? Number 1, they want to sell. Number 2, you've collected enough information for a ballpark market analysis. Number 3, you've asked how much they want. You have to ask that question. Number 4, you've qualified them over the phone. Number 5, all decision makers will be present. Number 6, enough time scheduled. 7, you know what objections to overcome. And 8, a pre-appointment package has been sent. Whew. That's the 8 criteria of a valid listing appointment. So Brian, if it's not a valid listing appointment, what would you call it? I don't know. What would you call it? Most people say a waste of time. I'm going to give you a little more politically correct version. We'll call it a meet and greet. It's a meet and greet. And in a meet and greet, there's 2 things that I don't do. I don't share my commission and I don't share my price because I can't move forward and I don't know what I'm doing. Like if the decision makers are not there, I don't have all the details. How long is this listing going to be on the market for? What's going to get fixed up in the property? I as a licensed real estate broker, I need to make sure I understand what information I have been given to give them the proper information. So I don't like going on meet and greets because they're going to want to know what's my price, what's my commission, and I'm not prepared to share that with them because I know statistically if I do, there's less chance I will get that listing in the long run, and I definitely won't get it that day because nobody's there to sign. All the decision makers are not there to sign. This subject frustrates me so much about sellers asking the question, what's your price and what's your commission? I literally wrote a book on it. It's a #1 international best-selling book on it just to give to sellers. They're asking the wrong question because they're thinking maybe I'll get the cheapest commission and maybe the highest price and maybe that agent's just ridiculous on price and that person's a little more reasonable. It's the wrong question. It really is the wrong question that sellers are asking. So I wrote a book on it to give to sellers. The question they should be asking, if you're wondering, is how are you going to net me more money at the end of the day than anybody else? That's a better question. I mean, I could charge 10% if I can net them more money. It would make sense, right? You earn more money, they're happier. I'm not saying charge 10%, but if you have the opportunity, God bless you. Let's go do that. But most people, if you want to raise your commission. So that's a whole nother subject. I hope I'm not getting in trouble with this kind of stuff. But if I am, let me know. Let me know. I hope this was helpful. I hope this 8 criteria of a valid listing appointment was helpful for you. And if you want a copy of the seller intake form too, the 8 criteria are actually on the seller intake form. It's just the questions that are associated with each of these criteria too, to make sure you're best prepared for that listing appointment. And I use the same questions on the listing appointment too, to make sure their answers haven't changed, because sometimes they change because I know they're talking to somebody else. That's usually why I know they're talking to somebody else, because the answers have changed. So I hope that was helpful. And, if I can help in any other way, I'm happy to help. Please reach out to me. I just want to say again, thank you for watching. I do appreciate that. And I do appreciate and respect the fact that you're taking your real estate business seriously to watch this video. So I hope this was helpful. Hope you have a great one. And let's go sell some houses. See you next time.